Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I am going to explain Python async IO. You know why this matters? Most developers try to scale their network applications using standard threads, only to hit a wall when their CPU usage spikes and their memory footprint explodes. This is more critical than you think. Getting concurrency wrong leads to race conditions, deadlocks, and silent failures that only show up under heavy production load. Let us dive into how you can write high-performance, concurrent applications in Python without the overhead of traditional threading. These are the topics we are going to cover in this video. Specifically, we will start by understanding why synchronous code fails at scale. Then, we will break down the event loop, define core concepts like coroutines and tasks, and write real-world production code. Watch the full video without skipping any content to understand it better. Before we get into the topic, a small request to you. I have already uploaded many technical videos on different technologies and tools. We share more knowledgeable content every day. So if you are interested in learning and want to improve your skills, make sure you have subscribed to our channel and joined our WhatsApp community. The join link is available in the description or scan the QR code shown on the screen. Let us get started. So why does synchronous code fail? Think about a chef in a kitchen. If the chef puts toast in the toaster and then stands there staring at the toaster for 2 minutes until it pops, they are blocked. They cannot chop vegetables or prepare the sauce. This is exactly how synchronous Python behaves. It waits for the network response, doing absolutely nothing else. In a real-world scenario, this causes your API response times to skyrocket and your infrastructure cost to double because you need more servers just to handle basic idle waiting tasks. So what is async IO? Really? It is a framework for writing concurrent code using the async and await keywords. It allows you to pause the execution of a function while waiting for I or O and switch to another task that is ready to run. Think about that waiter analogy. The waiter is the event loop. The orders are your tasks. By not standing at the kitchen window waiting for the food, the waiter handles 20 tables in the time it would take a synchronous waiter to serve just 2. That is the power of async IO. To follow this tutorial, you need a modern operating system like Windows, Mac OS, or a recent Ubuntu release. You must have Python 3.10 or newer installed. Check your version by typing Python 3 version in your terminal. If you are on Windows, press the Windows key, type CMD and hit enter. On Linux or Mac, open your terminal app. Ensure you have administrative privileges if your system requires them for package installations. If you are using an older version of Python, please update before starting. Here is how async IO works internally. At the center is the event loop. It is the heart of your application. When you create tasks, they register themselves with the loop. The loop watches these tasks. When task 1 makes a network request, it yields control back to the loop. The loop then starts task 2, which might be reading a file. When the network response for task 1 finally arrives, the loop resumes task 1 exactly where it left off. This cycle repeats thousands of times per second. Let us look at a simple example. On line 3, we define an async function using the async keyword. This tells Python that this function can be paused. On line 5, we use await async IO.sleep. This is the magic. It pauses this specific task but keeps the event loop alive to do other things. Finally, on line 12, we use async IO.gather. This tells the event loop to run both fetch data tasks at the same time. The total time taken will be 2 seconds, not 3, because they run concurrently. Notice the output order. Task 1 starts, then task 2 starts. But task 2 finishes first because it had a shorter sleep delay. This proves the tasks are running concurrently and not blocking each other. This is exactly what we want. In a real production environment, you would use a library like AOTDP to perform non-blocking network requests. Here, we create a session object. On line 10, we create a list of coroutines. On line 12, we use asyncio.TaskGroup.cancel. This is a pro tip for senior engineers. It allows you to process results the moment they are available, rather than waiting for the entire batch to finish. This reduces the latency of your pipeline significantly when dealing with large volumes of data. You will see the download sizes printing as the requests finish. Because we used as completed, your application stays responsive even if one of the URLs is slow to respond. This is how you handle thousands of requests per minute without crashing your service. A common mistake is accidentally blocking the event loop. In this code, we use time.sleep instead of asyncio.sleep. Because time.sleep is a synchronous operation, it freezes the entire thread. The event loop cannot switch tasks because the CPU is stuck in that sleep call. Never use synchronous blocking calls inside an async function. The fix is simple. Replace time.sleep with await asyncio.sleep. This allows the event loop to yield execution to other pending tasks while waiting for the timer, keeping your application responsive and performant. Think about this logistics platform. They were hitting database locks and network bottlenecks constantly. By refactoring their internal service to use Async I/O, they stopped the wait for all bottleneck. Instead of waiting for API A, then API B, then API C, they fired all three requests concurrently. The result was a 6-fold performance improvement. This is the difference between a system that scales and one that requires constant manual intervention. So when should you use this? Use Async I/O for I or O bound tasks. This includes anything that spends most of its time waiting for a network or disk response. If you are building an API gateway, it is perfect. However, do not use it for CPU bound tasks. If you are calculating machine learning weights or processing raw video, Async I/O will actually make your code slower because it still runs on one thread. For that, use the multiprocessing module instead. Also, ensure your team is ready for the mental shift required by async programming. Use these criteria to decide if this tool is right for your situation. You now know the basics of Async I/O. Remember that the event loop is your best friend for I or O efficiency. Always remember to use await when calling async functions to avoid blocking the loop. Use gather or as completed to manage batches of tasks effectively. Avoid blocking synchronous code at all costs, as it kills your performance. Finally, keep in mind that Async I/O is for I or O throughput, not CPU heavy lifting. Master these points, and you will be building highly scalable services in no time. I believe this video will definitely be a useful video. If you liked the video, please do like and hype the video. Also share it with your friends and groups. It may be useful to somebody else. If you have any doubts or any requests, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you have subscribed to stay updated for our regular videos. Join our WhatsApp community using the link in the description because we share more knowledgeable content every day. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.